Connor Holmes, America's leader in mobile homes. And by Citgo, the tough guys. You're looking at one of the showplaces of stock car racing, the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is a scorching hot October day, and we expect a hot race on the racetrack today. This could be the most competitive Busch Grand National race of the season. Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Hogwood. Working along with me today will be Jerry Punch. And, Jerry, when we get down to these final races of the year, we're talking about national championship, the points race. It's still anybody's game.
It really is, Mike. In fact, you know, the five-time national champion, Jack Ingram, seemed to have everything under control 3 weeks ago, and then tragedy struck. Ingram was placed on suspension. He was given a $5,000 fine by NASCAR for a driving incident up at Asheville Motor Speedway. He has missed 2 races. Now he is making his first start since the middle of September. He is now 85 points behind Larry Pearson and Brett Bodine, so it's anybody's race for the national title.
Well, when you talk about super speedways, the Busch Grand National regulars haven't done all that well.
Well, that's putting it mildly, Mike. You know, this year, all 7 super speedway races have been won by Winston Cup regulars. Earnhardt has won 3. Waltrip has won 2. Tim Richmond and Morgan Shepherd have won the other 2. So not since 1983, when Sam Ard won here at Charlotte, has a Busch Grand National regular won here at this speedway, and Ard has since retired.
All right, working along with us today down on pit road will be Rich Brenner. And Rich is going to tell us now a little bit more about what's going to be under the hood of these cars today.
There's a trend developing in stock car racing which would be very interesting to watch in today's race, and that is the move to the 6-cylinder, the V6 engine. This is the direction U.S. automakers are headed, and if Detroit's going that way, well, you know that stock car racing is going to follow. Overall, 12 cars in our starting field today will have V6 engines, including pole sitter Dale Earnhardt and the fastest man in yesterday's final practice session, Tommy Houston, in car number 6. 6-cylinder cars are 100 pounds lighter than their 8-cylinder counterparts. 3,350 pounds for the 6s, 3,450 for the 8s. Now, as the race wears on and the racetrack gets hot and slick, the lighter cars should have the handling advantage. And remember that Charlotte is a handling racetrack.
And also working with us down on pit road today will be Glenn Jarrett, a former driver on this circuit. And Glenn, I know some friends of yours stand to make a lot of extra money today.
That's absolutely right, Mike. There is a $25,000 Born to Race challenge being paid to any Busch Grand National Series regular driver that can win today's race. Born to Race is a full-length feature film being made about Busch Grand National Racing, and a couple of months ago they posted a challenge to any driver that could win today's race that is a Busch Series regular. There are 6 drivers that are eligible for this $25,000 bonus. Those drivers are Brett Bodine, Larry Pearson, L.D. Ottinger, Jack Ingram, Tommy Houston, and my younger brother Dale Jarrett. Now, all these guys have to do is go out here and beat these Winston Cup regulars, come home first in today's race. They've earned themselves an extra $25,000. That bonus, coupled with the winner's purse, could well earn them over $60,000 for winning today's race. That's a pretty doggone good incentive for anybody to go out and run hard all day long, try to win this race. Should be very interesting to watch.
You're exactly right, Glenn Jarrett, and I know those Grand National stars want to do well in the All-Pro Auto Parts 300 today. They want to look good in front of the Winston Cup drivers. They'd like to be on that circuit someday. As I mentioned just a moment ago, it is a scorching hot day here in Charlotte. 85 degrees, well above normal for this time of year. It's much hotter than that down on the racetrack. 57% humidity. The winds are light and variable. Not much wind down there, believe me. Sunny and hot, the forecast today. It's going to be a test on these machines, a test on the tires, and most of all, a test on the driver. I believe Glenn Jarrett is standing down now with Jack Ingram in car number 11. Glenn, Jack all buckled in now?
I am alongside of Jack Ingram, 5-time national champion, who was on his way to an unprecedented 6th title until a few weeks ago with his suspension. Jack, you had a 251-point lead at that time. Now you're 85 points behind. Has this changed the way that you're going to run today's race?
Well, it won't change much. We run always as hard as we can go, and that's what we're going to do today, and hope we have a good finish, maybe gain some points.
Well, you're also eligible, one of the 6 drivers eligible for a $25,000 bonus. That's got to make you want to charge a little bit to get up front, try to take home that money.
Well, yeah, that's certainly an incentive. Although I say again, we race as hard as we can most every place, but it certainly would be nice to get that $25,000 extra.
Do you feel like you have the car to take home first place today?
Well, yeah, this car is capable of winning. It's won more races on the series than anybody, so yeah, it's capable.
Well, that car, of course, is capable, but the man that Jack Ingram, the rest of the field, are going to have to catch is Dale Earnhardt. He's on the pole today, and Rich Brenner is standing down now with Dale Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt is going after his 4th Busch Grand National win of the season. And Dale, I know being from just 10 miles up the road in Kannapolis, you'd love to do it here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
I would. You know, it's our home track, and we always seem to run good here. It'd be nice to win here today.
What are you expecting out of this race today? It's very hot. The track's going to be slick, and you've got a lot of inexperienced drivers out there.
Well, you always do here at Charlotte have inexperienced drivers, but this is where you get your start at, and you know, hopefully a Winston Cup opportunity. And you know, it'll be slick, and there'll be some drivers out there, but hopefully everybody have a good day, and we'll have a good race.
Dale, thank you very much. Good luck to you today.
We're alongside of Tommy Houston now. Tommy, in yesterday's final practice session, you seem to have the fastest car. Do you think you can win the race today?
Well, Glenn, yeah, I believe we've got a shot at the race today. With the Buick V6 and Southern Biscuit Flyer behind us, you know, I think we've got a good shot, and we did run some quick times yesterday. I'm going to try to keep everything straight and, you know, run 300 laps, stay in the same lap with the leaders, or if I am the leader, then go on for the win.
Well, the command has just been given down on pit road to fire up these engines, and we hear the roar all up and down as some 42 cars will start today's race. Jerry Punch, I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to a good one.
I think it'll be a super race, Mike. In fact, you know, we've talked about the Winston Cup stars that have dominated for so long here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but I think, and I want to go on record predicting it, I think one of the Busch Grand National regulars will break through today. I think Brett Bodine has a super chance. Ingram is thirsty, hungry to get back and try to put that suspension behind him. He'd like to run well. L.D. Ottinger qualified well. Tommy Houston, coming off a super run at Dover, Delaware a few weeks ago. He was the strongest car in practice yesterday, so Houston may be a factor. I think one of the Busch regulars may have a shot to win today.
Well, as you mentioned a moment ago in our opening, history doesn't seem to say that that's the way things will happen today. It hasn't happened very often this year. It hasn't happened very much in the past. In our front row is a Winston Cup front row of Earnhardt and Bodine, and I think those two cars, if they can stay together all day, will be there at the finish, and one of the Grand National drivers is going to have to be one of those two guys.
I think Earnhardt and Bodine, with their experience on the big tracks, will definitely be the two to beat. However, I think those two cars will go out and they may eliminate each other because Bodine doesn't want to get too far behind Earnhardt, and likewise Earnhardt with Bodine. They'll go out, they'll probably try to pull away in a two-car draft and leave Larry Pearson and Brett behind. But Brett Bodine already knows if he lets Earnhardt and older brother Jeff get away, it could be over early here in Charlotte.
We have mentioned the heat several times today so far. Will it be a factor in this race? We're going 200 laps, 300 miles. Is that enough for the heat to be a factor?
I think it is. I think the track itself is a factor. You know, the heat is certainly a problem to deal with for 300 miles. But as you heard Earnhardt say a little bit ago, that there's a problem possibly with the track. The track may get a little bit slippery over in the corners, and I think Earnhardt figures that the cars are going to be running up awfully high, even up toward the wall early in the racetrack.
Well, as the cars are making their way down off of pit road for the pace laps, the Kyle Petty car had some trouble getting fired. He's fired and now rolling along. Let's meet the starting lineup for today's field on row one. And the pole with a qualifying speed of 161.599. It's Dale Earnhardt out of Mooresville in the Goodrich Pontiac. Alongside him on the front row, Jeff Bodine of Chemung, New York, in the Levi Garrett Exxon Pontiac with a qualifying speed 161.585 miles an hour. Row two, it's Brett Bodine, Jeff's brother from Chemung, New York, in the Thomas Brothers Country Ham Exxon Oldsmobile, and Larry Pearson, the current points leader, car 21 from Spartanburg, South Carolina, in the Chattanooga Shoe Chevrolet. On row three, it's L.D. Ottinger of Newport, Tennessee, in the All Pro Auto Parts Buick, and Darrell Waltrip in car 17 out of Franklin, Tennessee, in the Budweiser Colonial Bred Pontiac. On row four, Tommy Houston in car 6 out of Hickory in the Southern Biscuit Flour Buick, and Davey Allison, car 28 in the Allison Racing Buick. On row 5, Jack Ingram in car 11 out of Asheville in the Pantry Skull Bandit Oldsmobile, and Rick Mass out of Rockbridge, Bath, Virginia, in the A.G. Dillard Incorporated Pontiac. On row 6, car 32 is Dale Jarrett of Hickory, North Carolina, in the Nationwide Auto Parts Pontiac, and car 77 is Morgan Shepard out of Conover, North Carolina, in the CV Drug Company Buick. The rest of your starting lineup: 75 is Brad Teague, 84 is Mike Alexander, row 8 Brett Hearn and Kyle Petty, who is in car 47, row 9 is Rodney Howard and Haskell Willingham, Billy Standridge and Kenny Burks make up row 10, row 11 Bobby Allison, veteran Winston Cup performer, and also Bill Elliott, who is in car 88 today. Row 12 Dave Mater III in car 69 and Bobby Hillen Jr. Row 13, Ernie Irvin and Michael Goldberg. Row 14 is Mike Bonicelli and Alan Powell. On row 15, Ronnie Silver, car 14, Jimmy Hensley in car 63. Row 16 is Tony Warren and Merv Treichler. Row 17, Kenny Bouchard, Mark Scolo, Barry Bostic, Jimmy Lawson in row 18. And rounding out the field, Donnie Allison, Mike Porter, Joe Cudmore, Robert Ingram Jr., Charlie Luck, and Larry Pollard. We'll be back with the green flag and the start of the Charlotte 300 after these words from your local stations. Go green. Mike Hogwood along Jerry Punch. And fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. It's Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine who lead these cars into turn 1. Row 2 is Brett Bodine and Larry Pearson. Pearson is in car 21. Kyle Petty had some trouble getting fired. His hood is down on his car, and he's back out on the racetrack as Earnhardt is your early leader coming out of turn 1. It is Bodine who slides into second place, and Brett Bodine, his brother, in a car you absolutely cannot miss, is making a move on the inside as they head into turn 3. And I know Brett Bodine wants to show early what he can do here, Jerry Punch.
I'm sure he does. One thing he did show just a minute ago was inexperience. He got caught down on the low side on the back straightaway and was out of the draft, and therefore a number of cars were able to pull around, one being Jeff Bodine, his older brother. But now Earnhardt looks like he's having everything his way, Mike. He's pulling away from him.
Well, Dale Earnhardt, a couple car length lead over Jeff Bodine. We saw this same thing in the May race here. Earnhardt loves to run well on this track. It's his home track. He said he's out here today to not only win this race for himself, but he wants to win it for his car owner, who's his wife, Teresa, and for the crew who spent so much time in the shop over near Earnhardt's home working on that car. And Dale Earnhardt out to a comfortable lead early in this race. Jeff Bodine, his brother Brett, and Larry Pearson are right behind him, along with L.D. Ottinger, who is now in 4th place. L.D. is another one who's put a lot of energy and efforts into this race, wants to make a strong showing here today. The battle is for second place as Earnhardt is out to about an 8-car length lead now. It is Brett Bodine who goes high on the racetrack, but his brother Jeff won't let him have any position, and no brotherly love shown there at all, as Bodine is probably going to lose 2, maybe 3 positions now as L.D. Ottinger gets under him, and L.D. Ottinger is now in 3rd place.
Well, L.D. Ottinger is certainly no stranger to Charlotte Motor Speedway. He sat on the pole here a number of times. There you see L.D. trying to make a move under Jeff Bodine, and there's Brett behind him. The battle back behind them, you just see the tip of the Darrell Waltrip car. There's the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on the screen as they go by. And the Waltrip car, the car number 17, back in the screen there, running in 5th spot. But Bodine, while those 3 cars battle, Mike, you know, Earnhardt's getting away. He's starting to pull away. He's got about a 15-car length lead now.
Let's talk about strategy in this race. It's not as long as some of the races that we see here in Charlotte. It's 300 laps, or 300 miles and 200 laps. Is the strategy to get out in front early and just try to hold it?
Well, I think you can use the car pretty much here without having to worry about using the car up or abusing the car. And Earnhardt's car is a very good race car. The engine is a V6 engine built by Dennis Fisher in Sun Valley, California. It's the engine he won all 3 races this year when he has been competitive. He's won, of course, earlier in the year. He won at Daytona. He won at Rockingham. And he also won a 3rd race this year. That, of course, at Richmond, Virginia. So the car is competitive. The engine is strong. And so he feels like he can push the car all day and not worry about it.
Well, L.D. Ottinger, who has won this Grand National Championship twice in his career, has now moved his car into 2nd place. And if he can hold that car together, it would be a great day for L.D. Ottinger if he would be able to somehow pull it off here today in the Charlotte 300.
And Bill Elliott now, one of the veteran Winston Cup campaigners, starting back in the pack. Elliott did not have a good qualifying run. In fact, the car wasn't even ready to qualify on the first day. They had to wait till the 2nd day to qualify. So he started far back in the field, but he is starting to make a move up toward the front. Elliott started in 22nd spot, and that is a car that's formerly a Sam Ard car. That car won 60 races with Sam Ard aboard, was sold to Ed Whitaker, and now Elliott is aboard the car. Elliott drove the car, this car, earlier in the year at Road Atlanta, so it's certainly a competitive race car. We'll watch for him to make his move toward the front.
Seems strange to watch Bill Elliott driving in a Buick, too, and he normally drives that Ford Thunderbird on the Winston Cup circuit. Larry Pearson seems to have dropped back a bit since the beginning of the race. He started on the 2nd row. Here is Waltrip, who's really making a move. As you see him shooting by Jeff Bodine now on the outside. That's Brett Bodine in the 00 car. The 28 car moving in there. That is Davey Allison. That's the number he will campaign next year for Rookie of the Year on the Winston Cup circuit. Trying to get his fans used to the number here today as he's driving 28, the Allison racing car, and is driving it quite well. The battle now is for 3rd place. That's the battle for 3rd, and you see 4 cars. You throw a blanket over them. Any one of them could claim 3rd place now, and it's Darrell Waltrip who goes high and takes that 3rd spot away from Jeff Bodine. Bodine is back in 4th place, and Allison is currently running 5th.
Waltrip is in the car that won this race a year ago. He was not in the car. He had put Terry Labonte in the car because Waltrip wanted to take care of himself for that coveted Winston Cup Point Championship, and Labonte drove the car to victory here at Charlotte. But now Waltrip is back in that race car and trying to make a move. He is making a move by Jeff Bodine.
Well, they are really going side by side all the way around this racetrack. Jeff Bodine and Darrell Waltrip, 2 veteran Winston Cup drivers. It was just a few weeks ago at North Wilkesboro that those two battled it out for a Winston Cup win, and it was Waltrip getting the better of Jeff Bodine that day. And these guys remember things in battles week to week, and I'm sure that Jeff Bodine would like nothing to better than to take some position away from Darrell Waltrip right now. Bodine, as they come out of turn 4, is running 3rd. It is Waltrip who is running 4th. Bodine on the inside, and that is Brett Bodine, the 00 car. And these cars just running side by side around the racetrack. Seems to be a smooth race so far. Nobody taking a whole lot of chances. Everybody trying to stay out of trouble. We'll be back with more of the racing in Charlotte in a moment. Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Mike Hawkwood along with Jerry Punch for the All-Pro Auto Parts 300. We've had a great race so far. Looks like it's going to be a good day here. There you see Dale Earnhardt, who is still the leader, as we have completed 21 laps now. And Earnhardt has led all 21 laps. And here comes Bill Elliott up on the outside of Davey Allison. Allison is down low, and Elliott seems to have the stronger machine. That is the battle for 6th place, and it looks like, yes, Elliott is now in 6th place and will set his sights on now moving into the top 5. The 5th place car is Jeff Bodine, and you see Elliott now pulling up on his bumper. Brett Bodine is in 4th. He is immediately in front of Jeff, and Darrell Waltrip is running 3rd now, and they are way behind the 2 front runners, Dale Earnhardt and L.D. Ottinger. But this is where the real racing is, and this is where most of the fans in Charlotte seem to have their eyes on right now.